a lot of medical providers still think with their own wallet and with that, lesson in the back of their head that if you somehow take money and the government finds out, you're going to jail,
Mm.
which is completely wrong. Welcome to the Spinoso Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Alex Spinoso, and my experience and expertise is in scaling all types of medical businesses to 7, 8, and 9 figures. This isn't a podcast telling you you should do this. I'm telling you how I did this. I want to help you build your business, take ownership of your life, and become a better leader at home and at work.
All right. So you are not naturally a people person or an extrovert.
No.
So how does it work for you? Like when you're in the sales process and you're having to really connect with people? Because today we're going to talk, let me back up a little bit, mastering sales and the closer method. And I am fairly new to this method. So I'm looking forward to this conversation and what I can gain from it, as well as I'm sure the listeners. But to start, not being a people person and not naturally an extrovert, how does that work for you when you're in the sales process?
I've literally read a lot of books. So eh, it's so true. You lock me in the garage with a few cars and I could never speak to another human in my life and be happy. But that's obviously not going to be work. That's not going to work if you're trying to build a team or you're trying to build sales or you're trying to talk to clients. I have read a ton of books on just building rapport or how to talk to another human. I think that's literally one of the book titles. The charisma myth. All the different things that you literally as a human hear about these other people that are so good at talking to people and so good. My wife is like that. She's incredible in conversation. She can remember everything about you. She can remember your dog's name if she met you once 5 years ago. And I cannot remember what I had for breakfast or any of my kids' names. So that has always been really difficult, but it's been, again, a learning process where that is something in my life where I have to study. I have to read books about. I have to use those tips and tricks for talking to people. And now the biggest thing is really starting off always with compliments for people, which always lets people drop their guard right away if you compliment their outfit or compliment the way they look. And I'm not talking about being like super creepy, hey, you look good in that outfit today,
Right.
sort of sort of talk, but like genuinely complimenting
Ah.
somebody and then letting them kind of relax when they talk to you so that you can start the sales process. But yeah, again,
Mhm.
it's something else that you have to learn.
Was there a time at the beginning before you started reading all the books, but you had to kind of get into the sales where something happened that was like, oh my God, I can't believe that happened, or I can't believe I said that, or I totally bombed that pitch, or was there anything that comes to mind?
No, because I suppressed those horrible feelings down so deep. But as soon as I could, not really, because immediately from the very beginning, I had Sapphire, who was our first employee in Genesis. She was really good at talking and sales and stuff like that. So I
Mm.
made her do it right away so I could do all the back end stuff. And to this day, I've got full teams that do all the sales and everything. Now I could train people how to do sales and show them what they should do and what questions they should ask and everything. But that's all, again, from books and lessons and things like that. And in terms of actually doing it, I still would be like cringy doing it. But no, I don't think there's anything that actually happened, at least in my uh career with Genesis. Even before that, when I sold, vacuums, rainbow vacuums door to door when I was a teenager, there wasn't really anything that I was like, "Oh my god, I can't believe I said that." But I always have the problem when you go through medical school or when you go through residency, the medical field tells you, hey, you shouldn't take this. You shouldn't be taking money. If you take money, you're absolutely going to fucking burn to the ground and it's illegal and you're going to go straight to jail. So don't take any money whatsoever from people. And as a result of that, a lot of medical providers still think with their own wallet and with that, lesson in the back of their head that if you somehow take money and the government finds out, you're going to jail,
Mm.
which is completely wrong. It's a total lie. And they just tell you that so that you don't go off and build your own shit because you'll finally realize that you're incredible, or be a part of a company like Genesis where you'll get paid well and you'll actually be able to grow. No, they want you to think you're a piece of shit and you're worthless. So you work for their hospital forever until you die. And they make all the money.
Mm.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think really the training is what I do, but there wasn't anything that I can remember where I really stuck my foot in my mouth during like a sales process.
So that's a good tip. I mean, for the listener, if you're not naturally an extrovert or really interested in the person side of it, sales thing, hire somebody that is good at it and let them do that while you focus on what you're really good at.
Right. And people are always thinking, well, if I hire this person, I got to pay that person's payroll. Yes, I totally understand that. And it seems like it's not worth it. However, if you're closing one, two out of 10 people and they're going to close five out of 10 people, you are definitely going to make more money, even paying them their salary, their commission, etc., because you're going to be able to focus on so many more things than sales, and they're going to be able to really focus on and kill the sales aspect of it. And two people sometimes or not sometimes, almost always, two people will make more money than one person can do it alone.
Yeah. So good. Well, today the closer method is what we're going to dive into and break it down piece by piece. It's really a step-by-step approach to building long-lasting relationships with your patients, your clients, and customers. And so really understanding each piece of that is what we're going to dive into, because this is something that you've studied and you teach our teams at Genesis.
The closer method I actually stole from a podcast that I listened to before from Alex Hormozy. So he uses this, and I know the closer method is used in multiple other types of sales programs and companies and everything like that. And now we use this in Genesis as part of our training for sales, but that's where I originally got it. So don't come at us with, oh, you stole that from this or that or the. He fucking stole it too. So look, it's just a system for sales. Use it to your advantage.
All right. So we're going to start with C in the closer method, which is clarify. So, how do you clarify when you start this process?
Right. So the entire process of the closer method is spelled exactly like it is. It's a mnemonic. CLOSER. So closer. And the first letter C is clarify or get clarity. And what that means is when a client comes to you, you want to make sure that you are clarifying what their problem is. A lot of times they'll have this really long ass story. When I was in the 5th grade, I, started to eat chips and people made fun of me. And because of that, I got in my feelings. And then I started to eat more chips and I had cake. And then, and really the whole the reason why they're there is because obviously they're obese and they want to lose weight. And they'll just go off on a huge tangent. So trying to guide them towards really and I hate to say what their why is because it's fucking horrible, but getting clarity on exactly why they're there or exactly the problem they want to solve. I want to lose weight is not a good enough one because it's something that caused them to want to lose weight,
Mm.
whether it was a situation, whether it was a graduation or a wedding, something in their life. There's something that is forcing them at this moment in their life to want to go get something done about it. And so clarity or clarify is clarify the problem that they have. Okay, Amanda, you want to lose weight, but tell me more about that. Why do you want to lose weight?
So this is really great because it's reminding me, have you heard of the guy Jelly Roll?
Yeah,
Okay. Well, my nickname growing up from my brother was Jelly Roll.
there you
So
go.
Jelly Roll, if you're listening to this.
Because you were a great rapper.
I know, because my belly was jiggly.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, yeah.
And I remember being so upset that he would call me that. But as I got older, I had a little bit of a complex. Like, I always wanted to be thin, and even when I was thin, I still had, like, a jiggly belly,
Yeah.
and he would, like, grab it and, like,
Yeah.
brothers, and
Yeah.
so
Truffle shuffle.
so
That's old school.
so
Sandlot.
as I got older, I'm like, "I gotta have a six pack. I need to do this," right? So it was actually a leading factor as to why I was so focused on my health and wellness and being thin. And I got cool tone because I wanted the tone six pack and
Yeah.
not the jiggly stomach belly stuff. But anyway, yesterday he texted me and he's like, "See, I was just trying to help you
There
get
you
to
go.
famous status,
Mental
you know?"
health. Mental health
Yeah. So
101.
the whole story, but
Yeah.
what, losing weight
Yeah.
or wanting to have a six pack would be because, that childhood trauma
Yeah.
that my brother caused me.
So
But
totally make fun of your children for being fat, and they will be skinny and beautiful when they grow up.
one of two things could happen. That could be one.
Yeah, that's one
That
of
could
them.
be
Yeah.
one.
No, don't
But
do that.
don't do that. But anyway,
But you're
yes.
right.
But
So
that's the story.
yeah, there you go.
Right. But the reason why now, because why did I get cool tone when I did? Well, it was, Vegas pool parties. It was like I wanted to show up and
Exactly.
I wanted to have a nice tone abdomen. Um,
Right.
and
So
that was it.
in clarity, we would say, okay, Amanda, you're looking for a more tone abdomen, and you're interested in the cool tone, and you want to lose 10 pounds for pool season. You
Mhm.
would make sure you have it, line by line, all their goals kind of written out. And you want to make sure that they are problems or things that you can actually solve. Now, if it's like, okay, Amanda, you want to look great for pool season and you want liposuction and fat transfer and bigger boobs, we're not a surgical center. So it wouldn't make sense for Genesis to say or clarify your problem that way
Mm.
because we can't solve that problem. So that's the last step of C, which is clarify, which is making sure that you're clarifying that they have a problem that you can actually solve.
Yeah. So it's like bridging the gap between their problem and your solution to it.
Exactly. So you're starting that right away. Another way you can take the C is also connection. So building your rapport rapidly and making sure that they trust you because again, they're going to all these different people. This is probably the first time they've met you. They might have talked to you over the phone a little bit or done a Zoom consult, but again, they don't know you from Adam. Maybe got a referral, so they trust you a little bit more. But if it's just a cold lead that came in because they Googled you or saw you on Facebook, you need to try and build rapport with them. So you have to be warm with them. You have to be empathetic, and you have to listen to really what they're trying to tell you as much as possible. So body language, eye contact, it all has to be there. But I'm not going to dive into those things because you guys should be already doing those things. So see, clarify, make sure you know exactly what their problem is and why they are trying to do it. Next part is L.
Awesome. So let's dive into the L. What does the L stand for?
The L is label. So once you've clarified what their problem is and you've had it listed out, you want to label them with that problem. And again, it's a problem that you can solve and make it fun. So this is, I'm going to, I know everything that you need. We're going to go over together. I'm going to ask you some more questions and I'm going to come up with a package. And it's going to be the Amanda May have a six pack for the pool party, sexy package. Okay.
Love it.
That's what our package is going to be for you. And you want to make it fun and you want to make it customized. So that way, when she's like, okay, I need this, this, and this, you're not like, okay, well, I only have this package for this and this package for this.
Mm.
Every patient and every client that you have is individual. So although you might have a good, better, best package, you have to always try and tweak it a little bit. And usually when you tweak it, it's adding something, adding a bonus, adding another thing to it. Usually you're not going to take things away unless they don't really need it. But build your packages out so that essentially everybody who's coming in for weight loss could use everything in the good, better, best package. you could just add bonuses on top of that.
I love that, and it feels like even though this is a scenario from years ago, I get excited hearing you say that, like, "Let me get my sexy body back for
Yeah,
summer." I mean, I'm not
absolutely.
going to Vegas pool parties anymore these
Right,
days,
right,
but still,
right.
like, if I was, or, if I'm even out in my backyard looking
Mhm.
at myself, like, that gets me excited,
Yeah,
and it's like I can walk away, and even thinking about, when I spend money, it's like spending money on something that's really custom for me. So having a name for it, I love that that letter, because I feel like it's important for the person to actually connect with why they're saying yes in the first place. And so having it be that custom with the label, it makes it fun. And I probably would call my sister and be like, I just got the sexy summer body
yeah,
package. I can't wait. And
absolutely.
I'd be telling somebody about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely, and that allows people to when you get referrals, they're coming in and they're like, "Hey, I want the, sexy package that Amanda got. She got this, this, and this. I'm excited about doing that."
Yeah.
So it creates, again, like you said, the customization of it. Another aspect of that L besides, label them with that problem is listening. So you wanna obviously listen to your client and sometimes shut the fuck up and let them tell you what their issue is. If you ask questions that are open-ended to a degree to where they can tell you their fears, their issues, their concerns, you'll be able to pick out where they are, falling short or where they think they need help and connect what you are selling to what they really need and what they really want.
Yeah, it feels like a really good time to offer a level of compassion. Like when you really recognize this person is coming because they really feel that there's a problem. And so it's like usually a problem means some sort of emotional connection with something that's not right in their life that they're wanting to fix. So it's an opportunity to actually extend a level of compassion and care. This is why we are in this business in the first place. It's really to give people answers that they're looking for. And it's like recognize this person has felt loneliness, sadness, despair, uh, self-judgment, whatever it is, and that they're sitting in front of you, trusting you with something that's really precious and private, and recognizing this isn't just about the sale. This is about the life that you're going to give to this person when you've created a solution for them. And I think that's a big thing when it comes to sales. Like, just in my experience, people go, well, I'm not a natural salesperson. Well, that's because you're trying to sell. It's like nobody wants to be sold to. But if they're coming with a problem and you have a solution to that problem, you're not selling them something. You're educating them and giving them a better lifestyle, more confidence, more time with their families, just better quality of life. I mean, that's what you're doing. So it's like, yeah, if you're trying to sell and you're just thinking about the money aspect, but if you think about the value you're actually creating for somebody, sales feels a lot different.
Yeah, absolutely. That's absolutely the truth. If you just care about people
Mhm.
and you're just trying to help them and you know your solution or your product is a solution to their problem, then it shouldn't feel like a sale at all
Yeah.
because it's just like, okay, you have a problem, I have a solution, and I have a bunch of proof, before and afters, stories, referrals, testimonials that it works
Mhm.
for what you're suffering from.
Yeah, right on. So then that kind of leads us into the O,
Yep.
which is offer solutions.
Yep. Absolutely. So it's objections first and then offer solutions
Okay.
is the O. So first of all, you want to go through all the objections that they might have. In that process, when you're talking about them, when you're clarifying, when you're labeling them, the next step is to ask, okay, what have you done before?
Mm.
What has worked for you? What hasn't worked for you? Like, what did you like about your program? What did you not like about your program? And what struggles have you had? Losing weight, for example. All those things you want to write down because all of the positive things you want to make sure you talk about as, hey, yeah, our program has that. All the negative things, you want to make sure, oh, well, our program doesn't do that, or you make sure your program doesn't do that because they're telling you all the things, again, that they loved and that they hated.
Mm.
So if you go based off that, you're going to be able to create a product or a custom system for this person where they're going to be like, oh man, this has all the good and none of the bad. Hell yeah, I want to buy it. And you're not lying. You're just setting it up to where what they need to hear what you're offering them is a solution to their problem. Again,
Yeah, like going to the gym and doing sit-ups sucks.
right.
Takes forever. You don't get the results very quick. All the time, all the energy, lack of results or long time before seeing results. It's like, okay, well, Cool Tone is going to give you faster results or M Sculpt. That's something that we offer.
Yep.
And Cool Tone was years ago, but M Sculpt now does even more. And so it's like you're going to get all those things in 2 weeks.
Right.
And legit, you do get it if you stack those appointments back to back for 2 or 3 weeks straight. Yeah, you got a six pack in 6 weeks. Like,
Yeah.
no sit-ups required.
Right.
Yeah, I'm where do I sign up for that?
Exactly.
Right?
Or, it takes time to go to the gym and work out. So if you're using the BTL gym where you go and put the paddles on your abs and then your legs and then your butt and then your arms, you're doing a full body workout in, you know, 2 hours, but that's the equivalent of going to the gym, 20 times, 30 times easily.
Yeah.
And again, it's beyond that because you wouldn't be able to even flex the muscles that it's flexing. So creating obviously some sort of solving solution for all their objections. And then you're absolutely right, is the offer. So your offer, it has to solve the person's specific problem. And you learn the problem through listening, through clarifying, through labeling. You have the exact problem that they have. So your offer needs to solve their exact problem and solve it very well. You don't need to overwhelm them with all these different fucking details. Hey, we're going to add this and do this and do that and this and that and this and that. Just keep it focused on the benefits that matter to that person's issue. Like, hey, you're also going to get this, but you're also going to get this. It's just like, well, I didn't really want those things. I just want
Mm.
this. I just want like fat loss and toning in this area. Is this program going to get me this? Well, yeah, and it's going to help this in the skin and that and that. Well, I didn't think I had skin problems. All those things that you're bringing up is just confusing it.
Mm. Yeah, because I feel like in the objection part of this process is where a lot of deals fall apart. So for people who are just learning this method and just getting into sales, what kind of tips can you give through the objection process or what is the mindset like that's stopping people from really addressing the objections to get past that part of this process so they can actually close it?
I think it's usually, well, three parts. Is one, they're gonna blame themselves. Oh, I can't do this because my and when I say blame themselves, it means blame their like surroundings, but they always have an external problem. I can't do this because uh my schedule doesn't work out that way. Or I have to eat certain foods because I have a overnight job, so they're again, their situation does not allow it. They're gonna blame someone else. I can't do it because my husband's not on board. My wife's not on board. She eats whatever she wants and she's as thin as a rail and she doesn't understand what's going on with me. Like,
Mm.
so blaming other people and having external factors are always a huge thing that you have to overcome. And then the third thing is really like personal weakness. Like,
Mm.
I can't do this because somebody's gonna think that it's a bad decision. Like my wife or my husband or myself really is gonna think that it's a bad decision. And what everyone has to realize is that when it comes to sales, when it comes to anything in life, people make decisions in order to make themselves happier. So if you're not making sure that the person in front of you is empowered to make their decision, they're going to always blame not closing with you today on somebody else. Oh, I got to speak with my husband. I got to
Mm.
speak with my spouse. I got to do this. Like, you really have to speak with your spouse? Like, you fucking knew how much this was going to be. You came, you got all the information, and you said you have to speak with your spouse. 99% of the time, that's just delaying because they don't think that you have something that's so valuable that they want to spend the money right then and there.
Mm.
And so you miss something in the process. You miss something in the clarity, you miss something in the label. There's something else going on that you didn't solve that they feel they need to talk to their spouse.
Do you think at this point, if somebody gets to this step and they've got those objections and they feel like they're getting stuck in it, is it good to go back to one of the first two and either get more clarity or relabel it to maybe save the sale before moving on?
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll get to E on
Ah,
that. We'll get to that.
I'm jumping
But
ahead.
you're absolutely true is that this O is like your first offer. Once you've gone through the objections, then you deliver that first offer to them, a solution that solves their problem. It's personalized, it's tailored pricing, tailored product features, implementation, like something that is built specifically for them is the O. And then the S is the next part because that's if they don't close there, which maybe a third or less will close at that point. Then it's moving on to the next letters, which is S. Solve the problem, but a better way to say it is sell the vacation, not the plane ride. Everybody talks about their vacation. They talk about the beautiful hotel. They talk about the view. They talk about the beach, the drinks, the food. Nobody talks about the plane ride getting there. Zero people talk about that. So don't talk about the plane ride. Don't talk about the fact that, hey, Amanda, you're going to have to probably diet and exercise a little bit and then come in for your M Sculpt sessions and inject yourself with a needle every week. Like, all that sounds terrible,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
We'll talk about, hey, oh, you know what? You're going to lose weight. It's going to be a lot easier than if you were to do it just alone. You've had all these problems in the past doing X, Y, and Z. You're not going to have to do that. You're going to come in. You're going to be able to we're going to put you on this machine. You're going to be sweating just being strapped to the machine. And because it's, working out 20,000, 30,000 crunches in the 30 minutes that you're going to be with us, it's going to be like you went to the gym, 20,000 times. So you want to create a visualization in your client's eye of what is going to happen or what can possibly be, because that's what's going to help drive them forward. It's just like any of you guys, if you're trying to get somewhere and you're thinking, hey, you're visualizing in your mind, I'm going to do this. This is going to be amazing, etc. And you're thinking about all the good things.
Mm.
That's what you want to put into the client's mind because they've already still got all the bad things in their mind. They've got all the history of trying to lose weight, all the looking at themselves in the mirror and having jiggly stomachs and all that shit. They still have that in their mind. So you want to paint the picture of, hey, you're going to have nice rock hard stomach. Your skin's going to be nice and tight. You're going to be feeling good about yourself. You're going to look great in a bikini down at the pool. All those things you want to put into somebody's mind so they are visualizing it.
Mhm.
And it's the concept of the pink elephant. Nobody thinks about pink elephants until you say, "Hey, pink elephant," and then everybody pictures a fucking pink elephant, right?
Yeah, I
It's
just did.
it's the same thing with everyone else where you want to visualize or help them visualize, "Hey, you're going to look really good and I don't know, what you ask them favorite color, your red bikini down at the pool and your skin's you're going to be nice and tight and you're going to have a nice six pack, you're going to look amazing." Not bodybuilder six pack. You're going to have a nice, feminine six pack. It's going to look sexy, etc. So putting that into their mind's eye so that they see, okay, that's the vacation.
Mhm.
And making sure that as part of that, you're addressing all of the objections and concerns again. You're reviewing like and anticipating their objections. You've already gone through, what's worked before, what the issue is, what hasn't worked before. And so trying to find out deeper on those questions, trying to find out the next steps of objections and drilling those objections before you even get into the sale. A lot of times employees are having a bad close rate. And so you ask them, how many times have you done role playing? It's like, well, no, we haven't been able to do it in a while. Well, that's exactly your problem. You should be role playing. You should be practicing like you play, period. And so making sure that your staff is role playing, you're role playing with your staff, your training is a role playing type training so that you're able to think on your feet or your staff is able to think on their feet with any type of injections and handle them right away.
Yeah, it's so good. So when it comes to getting past the objections, okay, so you're moving on, they're buying into this vacation and they're ready to move forward with maybe making that commitment. What comes next? What happens to combine like these all together to finally get to that yes?
So the next two things are your E and your R. So E is for engaging or excuses, and then R is just reinforcement. So when we talk about the E part, engaging is getting the customer to commit. At this point, they're ready to buy. They came in, they spent their day, they drove at least 15 minutes to you. They have at least 15 minutes drive home, the shortest. You sat there for 15 to 20, 20, maybe even 30 minutes in a consultation with them, which there's the old phrase, how long should your consultations be? As long as it takes, period, to sell them.
Mm.
So they spent, a total of an hour and a half, maybe even 2 hours minimum with you. You got to sell them something. They wanted something. They want to purchase something. So make the process smooth, guide them through the next steps without being like overly pushy. So, hey, this is again, you do the same offer again. You go through their E, which is, their excuses. They're going to blame their home life. They're going to blame their spouse. They're going to blame such and such. They're going to say, I can't do this. That's too expensive, etc. Have all those objections already drilled down in your mind of what you're going to answer them with. Every single one. And it could be the same response for everyone. It doesn't have to be a different response for everyone. So go through their excuses. They're going to have objections. You know what objections are the most, or what objections occur the most often in your company or in your sales process. Make sure you drill those. Make sure you have them ready to answer. And then once you've answered them, go back and go through the sales process again, not from everything again. Now from, okay, so we'll start with clarity and start with labeling, but go back and say, well, you said you wanted to burn fat, lose weight, and get sexy. And if I could come up with a solution to your problem, you'd be ready to move today. So what's holding you back?
Hmm.
And
That's
then
a
be quiet.
Yeah,
Be
such a
quiet.
good question.
Because you have to realize that people need time to make a decision. And that time is usually figured out right there in front of you. When you ask a question or when you go for the sale, you shut up afterwards because you need to allow them time in their heads to figure out, okay, how am I going to afford this? So they're going to think, can I afford this? And they're going to think, how can I afford this? And then they're going to solve the problem for you, which is, how can I afford this? So they're going to think about, okay, maybe if I gave up coffee every morning for 2 weeks and then I didn't, we have this, trip coming up, we could just, maybe come home one day early so we have less hotel bills. They're going to go through their mind and figure out how to afford what you're selling them because you have a solution to their problem. And anybody who has a solution to their problem, especially in the medical field, they're going to be 100% for it. But again, they have to solve that problem of how to afford that
Mm.
or how to pay for that service right then and there. If somebody said, hey, you got to pay $2,000 today, but it was something you really wanted, a lot of times you wouldn't just slam that $2,000 down. You would figure out it would take a little bit of time.
Mhm.
Again, maybe a minute, two, to figure out exactly how you do it. But again, you'd want to do it. If they don't immediately tell you, no, absolutely not, then they're trying to solve the problem in their minds of how to afford it. So you already have them in the sale. They already want to buy it. So shut the fuck up and let them figure out how to pay for it.
Yeah, and I've always heard people value what they pay for. So, when we discount, that devalues the services that we're offering. But people always find a way to pay for what they value. And so if you've created enough value through the process, they're gonna find a way to pay for it.
100%. 100% they will.
And then we offer, I mean, at Genesis, we offer other solutions too, like financing. So if somebody
Absolutely.
really comes up and is like, I just don't know how I'm going to pay for it,
Yeah.
you have some other options too, like extending financing options through different companies and at different rates. And so there are some in-house, because some of the listeners may have in-house financing. So if that's something you can do, or doing like a monthly payment, something like that. There's, the financial side is like, once they're ready, I feel like that's the easy part to figure out, because there are a lot of ways that you can make that work.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like too, as a company, obviously you want to cover your costs, but it's like, all right, figure out a payment plan so that they can start their service as soon as possible. They can start getting that momentum. They're back in, they've already committed to it. They're covering the costs of what they're getting at the beginning.
Mhm.
And then you're staggering out maybe their appointments or their payments, so that, you're not going to lose anything, but it's more of like an in-house, like, you know what, we want to work with you. We want to offer something for you so you can get started right away. And that's one of the great things with like the weight loss, when we can offer, let's say, like, depending on our location, like the initial injection, or can we do that anymore at some of our locations?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just confirming before I get somebody on here like, no, you can't do that.
Yeah.
That's not good.
No, you still can.
That, like, let me get you started today. Like,
Mhm.
we get you started today on your first shot. I mean, people are like, okay, how soon can I get results for what I'm looking for? Um, so getting them started right away, or offering some sort of B12, where I know a lot of our girls in our Dallas clinics for sure, that if somebody's like on the fence of some of the things that they're looking for, it's like, well, let's at least get your blood work. Let's get you started so you have a insight as to where you're starting from, your in body and your blood work. So then we can tailor a program that's specifically for you. Or then we can get you started on all these other things that you're looking for, if it fits, if, because with weight loss, hormone replacement therapy absolutely is a vertical service that we can offer. So offering things like that so people get some sort of buy-in, even like while they're there for that initial appointment. And that's like, all right, I can start today. I wasn't expecting that. Now I have even more reason to find the money to do it.
Yeah, and giving something tangible right away, that has been taught over and over and over, where people love ebooks and free things, but if you could give somebody tangible, something tangible, like a tangible book, or like you're saying, you could start the medication right then and there, or whatever your service you're doing. Sometimes, obviously, you can't, if you're doing garage doors, you can't give them a garage door or something like that right then and there. But whatever you can give them as a gift, as a welcome right then and there. When we first started, we had a colleague who did stem cell companies, and his clients, when they bought, because you'd have to go buy the stem cells, wait for it to come in. But when they bought from him, he would give them like a welcome box, and
Mm,
this thing was fucking huge. It was huge. Gosh, probably, I would say, a foot and a half deep by 2 feet wide. It was a massive box. And when you opened it, it was a tumbler and like a book about the company and pens and like a USB drive and all these different things, all, easy things that you can get customized, all of them customized to the brand. And the reason why he made it so big was because people would take it home and put it on. They didn't have a place to put it. You can't put it in the drawer or the counter. It'd have to go on like the table in the living room or on the living room counter or on the kitchen counter. It would have to go somewhere where it was visible. And so they would take it back to these, old folks' homes or wherever they were, and they'd have friends over, and people would be like, "What's that?" And so it was an easy referral because this thing was so fucking big that you couldn't actually put it anywhere.
So smart.
Yeah, it was genius.
Yeah.
But again, he immediately gave them something so that they felt that, hey, this is worth it. Even though it was a big just fucking night, it was a, customized cardboard box with some tumblers and probably cost him, I don't know, $50 to go all in on the very expensive side.
Yeah.
But again, he was selling $10,000 treatments.
Well, and too, I that makes me think about how many times I've gotten little gadgets like at a convention or something. And it takes me sometimes a few weeks to go through and decide, am I going to keep this thing, this little gadget I got, or am I going to throw it away? And then I feel a little guilty throwing things away because I'm like, well, what if I need that one day? So it's like that process of actually going through it and getting everything put away. You're making like a decision over and over where that brand is in your face. I mean, I think that's a brilliant concept to do
Yeah.
it that way.
Yes, giving them something. It could be a tumbler, a cup, something that they're going to use quite often. I mean, females love fucking their Stanley cups.
Yeah.
And you don't have to buy Stanley because Stanleys are like a fucking $100, for the custom ones. But they have other ones that are like knockoff Stanleys or close to Stanleys where you could give those away and it's going to be worth it because everybody's going to be like, they're walking around with your fucking logo and company name on their giant cup filled with Starbucks or strawberry lemonade or whatever the hell people drink nowadays.
Posting it on the gram.
Yeah, posting it
Yeah.
on the gram.
Yeah.
And then the so we've got CLOSER. R is reinforce. Once the person's made the decision, you want to reinforce that decision as much as possible. Again, they made a decision that they thought was going to make them happier. Don't make them into a fucking liar to themselves. You want to thank them. You want to say, "Hey, you made a great decision today." You want to write them a handwritten thank you afterwards. 7 to 10 days afterwards, they get that handwritten thank you. We're so excited for your journey. We're here the whole time. You're creating a long-lasting friendship and a relationship with these people. You want to continuously add value to their lives so that they keep coming back over and over and over. And the R is a huge part that not a lot of people focus on because the R is where your referrals come in as well. R is for referrals. So you reinforce their decision, you go over the top, you take care of them really well. And when you do that, they are going to tell other people about you. And so you are going to get referrals from you taking care of them and solving their problem. They're going to tell fucking everyone about you. That's the R part of it.
Yeah, and that's keeping people engaged after the sale. And that definitely is something that is, I think, could be talked about more and is I think maybe undervalued as to how important it is because companies like Amazon, I mean, they keep you engaged long after you get that Amazon box, and there are ways to keep people engaged and email marketing, certainly follow-ups on phone calls and things like that. But that handwritten letter is really good. Like, thank you. Thanks for trusting us. We're excited for your journey and celebrating with them, even as they're getting started, not necessarily when they've gotten to the vacation, but as they're getting ready for their plane ride, as you call it earlier. So this is definitely a structured approach that is going to be super helpful when somebody is wanting to close sales. And, there was a lot that we covered in this, but is there one key takeaway that you feel like you could share with our listeners about this process or the sales process or the closer method?
Well, all of it should be focused on just creating a relationship and making sure that you're building a relationship, a friend, a long time customer. So, a great mentor of mine, Andy Frisella, he says, make a friend, make a sale. So, focus on the person who's sitting in front of you, ask them about their problem, make sure you find a solution, and just be a friend to them. Just be fucking real with them. You wouldn't sell a piece of shit product or something that your friend didn't need to them. You wouldn't. So treat them exactly the same as you would your normal friend. Hey, this is going to solve your problem. I know it. And you may not know it yet, but it's going to change your life. And if
Mm.
you make a friend, you're going to make that sale and you're going to have those people for life. They're going to keep coming back. They're going to love what you do. You're going to get referrals. And the closer method is just a way of handling conversations. It's a way of going through the sales process. But if you have, again, a really great fucking product, if you make a friend and you're just solving people's problems with your products, you're going to close the deal.
Mm. Yeah, one of the things that my final thought on this is if you do have a weight loss clinic and you're listening to us from that perspective, one of the things that we do is celebrating when somebody reaches certain milestones with their weight loss. And we have these big signs that they hold up. I lost X weight with Genesis. And our teams jump in the picture and everybody's got their hands up and making great faces. And it's like when they come in, we're like, can we take a photo of you? And one of our locations just said the other day that her client came in dressed up. She said, I was hoping you were going to ask. So, people want to be celebrated and it's like certain milestones. Maybe they want to lose 40 pounds, but every 15, or halfway there. Hey, you're halfway there. Let's get a photo of your progress. And not only is that great for your own social media and referral, but they're excited because like the whole clinic is taking time out and it just takes a few minutes to stop and take a photo and congratulate and celebrate them. And, they leave feeling really good, even if they're only halfway through their process.
Absolutely. Nah, celebrate people. Celebrate, celebrate, celebrate as much as you possibly can. 100%. Because nobody gets celebrated anymore. And they'll love you for it.
Awesome. This has been a great conversation. I love all of the tips and things. There's definitely some things that I learned, even being in sales in the company. Some things that you shared that were super valuable for me to take away and continue to teach from. You have some free trainings on your website, and so for people who want to dive in more and understand more and that are listening to the podcast, but they really want to tap in more. Where can people find that and how do they get involved in your new mastermind?
Yeah, if you guys want to learn more about, the closer method, watch some more videos about some of the other conversationalist things we do in our consultations, you can go to dralexpinoso.com/courses. All the courses are free on there. And you can learn all about it. We are starting a medical mastermind very soon. We've already started to interview people for it. You can go to Join Charismetics. That's CHARISMEDX, joincharismetics.com, and apply there. We look forward to see that. That should be launching. Hopefully by the end of the year, we'll launch something. Really, January 2025, we're going to be launching heavily on that.
I'm ready for it.
Let's do it. All right, guys. Have a good one.